All right, in today's video, we did a Poly B replacement. This is an on-site edition, and yes, I just wanted to show you how much stuff that we have to bring in for one simple job. All right, hey, welcome to Plumbing Gurus. On this channel, we strive to save you money and keep you informed on all the proper plumbing practices. All right, in today's video, we go through a Poly B replacement. We're just gonna show you with detail, the start to finish, kind of how we mentally go through the process of starting and the entire job. We kind of wanna show you everything we've done on this one. And if you happen to be from Calgary, Alberta, KPN Plumbing is our company. We specialize in Poly B replacements, so if you're looking to get that done, you can give us a shout. We'll put my phone number or my email in the link in the description below. First thing that we generally do is after the client has, we've sent out the quote or they've hired us, and then we come in to do the job. We always lay flooring protection. We have lots of flooring protection. We always have it. We protect the entire area that we work on. And if we happen to do the patching and repairing and the painting for them, we hire that out, and we kind of do it as a package as a whole. We'll leave the flooring protection for the drywallers and the painters, the entire job, and we come back and do a full cleanup later. But on this one, they are taking care of the drywall and the patching themselves. So we'll take the flooring protection with us. But to start, we lay the flooring protection, and then we kind of map out how we're gonna cut our holes. So I kind of want to show you upstairs. We kind of generally will start upstairs, and I'll give you an idea of how we do the process kind of from start to finish. All right, so a lot of times the first thing we do is we like to come upstairs and check the bathrooms. The showers are a big one, and the tubs. So making sure that we can access them. You can see right here that the tub is accessible in this hallway, so we just cut a hole open here, and then we're able to access the old shower valve and cut out the Poly B that way. All right, so over here, this is the master bathroom. It's the same thing. We always like to make sure that we can get access to the shower. So you can see here, there's access. It was quite easy on this one. It's not always this easy, so these are kind of things we look for when we're going in to talk to the clients when we first quote the job, to make sure we have decent access to the showers and the tubs like this. All right, so the next thing that we like to do is after we've kind of figured out everything upstairs, we'll go from like main floor to basement to upstairs, just making sure and mapping things out as much as possible. There's a lot of planning that comes involved before we start just cutting people's ceiling out, because if you have extra holes, it's just more money for them for patching and painting purposes. So we try to minimize the amount of holes and patches that we do. So what we generally will do is find a kind of a starting point. In this one, we were lucky that there was a tub that already had an access panel, so we could actually measure off that and figure out from upstairs off the freestanding faucet. We just measured to where the toilet was, to where the sink was for the master, and that allowed us to actually know exactly where everything was. So all we had to do is take our template. We use a template when we cut our holes, and it's about a 2 foot by 2 foot-ish. And we just put our template up there, mark it with a pencil, and then we just start cutting it with a Makita drywall saw that only cuts 1/2 inch into the drywall, so it cannot hit anything else. And then we have it hooked up to a vacuum that is sucking and making sure that we don't leave a mess when we're cutting, because drywall is very messy. So in here we found our tub, and then our sink we were able to fish the lines through, so we only had to cut kind of one hole here. And then we found the 3/4 that ran all the way through here and then picked up off down through the basement. So this one actually worked out pretty simple. A lot of times it's not quite that easy to just like redo it all. So there is a lot of planning involved, like I said. And in here, it went through the half bath. We came down this wall here with our 3/4 that came up, and then it went all the way that way and then this way. So the main bathroom is actually on that side, and the master is on this side. So we're able to come up this wall and then tee off up there and run 3/4 inch lines both ways. And then we're just taking our branches off, and we're up there working with our Uponor pipe, which it's actually our first job on a Poly B doing Uponor pipe, and my God, it was a lifesaver. You're not in there crimping with your hands like this, getting your carpal tunnel, because I've been doing this for 20 years, and trying to crimp 3/4 with one hand is a pain in the ass. So we actually have an Uponor tool that expands the pipe, and then we just shove the pipe on, and it's fantastic. And it also allows for full flow through, and we did a test where we were running every piece of water in, like every sink, and flushing toilets and running the showers and the tubs, and the flow didn't change. You could turn the tub on and off, and you didn't get that fluctuation in flow. So it does make a huge difference using Uponor, because you get full flow through the fittings. So after we've tied in all of our T's, I generally start from one end and I'll just crimp on like a 3/4 half T here to pick up the pick up the tub in the sink, and then I just work my way that way. And then I just put my T in and I'm cutting, so I'm not having to worry about what's on that end. I always work from one end to the other essentially. So then I'm just putting my 3/4 half T's on and my 3/4 T's here to go down. And then I finish off at the end with another set of 3/4 halves for the sink and the toilet and the tub for the main bathroom on this side. All right, so another part that can be difficult is when you come into a finished basement and you're also cutting drywall and trying to find your way back to the mechanical room. In this case, the house had already had a flood. They had a poly B burst, and that's kind of why we're here. So they had some ceiling damage here. We ended up cutting a bunch of the ceiling down just so that, because there was some kind of mold on it. It was still pretty wet up there. There was actually a constant drip from a poly B line that they didn't even know about. The flood actually happened from something else. And there was also, while we were here, a poly B failure. So we ended up cutting into the drywall and we got soaked, a bunch of water came down. So in this one, you know, we like to find the kitchen. The kitchen's above here, and then the fridge is over there, and then we also have hose bibs. There's always 2 hose bibs. So those are kind of like the tougher ones to do in a basement, is trying to figure out the best path to get to the hose bibs without cutting a ton of holes, because it can turn into a messy situation if you're just cutting a bunch of holes, and then they're redoing like the whole ceiling. So you try to minimize the holes as much as possible. And then we found we need to find a chase to get back to the mechanical room to make our lives as easy as possible. And we kind of did that by, you know, cutting this ceiling out and cutting a channel the whole way, and that brings us all the way back to the mechanical room. And then in this one, there is a 3-piece bathroom, and it's just over here. So it's kind of hard to get all the footage because, you know, the space is so tight, but this is a 3-piece bathroom in here. And there's just a sink, a shower, and a toilet. And we just essentially, you know, cut some holes in the ceiling in here and fished new lines in here and just ran them down and stubbed everything out. He's actually redoing this bathroom, so we'll be coming back in the next month or so to help him out with putting a new shower in and new toilet and new sink and everything like that. All right, so it's kind of tight in here. I know it's hard to see. Just gonna give you a quick rundown of how we do this. Again, we ran those 3/4 inch lines, the hot and colds, back into here, and we always actually, because we have hard water in Calgary, we'll always run the kitchen and the hose bibs and everything. Well, the hose bibs always get ran back anyways, but we run the kitchen back too, or any kind of hard water lines that need to be ran back, and we tie them into here. So in here it was pretty tight to work on, and the main valve is actually down there, so it's pretty difficult to get at. Wasn't that much fun. That's the kind of the downside of doing renovations and poly B replacements, is they can get pretty tight. So then we just came up and we came over with 3/4. We 3/4 T'd up to feed the hot water tank, and then this is now our hard water with our hose bibs, and we always like to put shut-off valves. So shut-off valves and then drain hoses to be able to drain the hose bibs, but we also put frost freeze in to make sure in case somebody forgets to turn it off. But we always recommend turning off your hose bibs in the winter and draining them if you can. All right, so that's our entire process of a poly B replacement from start to finish. As you can see here, when we leave, the house is clean. After every day, generally it takes us 2 days to do a full house. Depends on how big it is. It can take up to 3. But anyways, the biggest thing that we take pride in is how clean we cut our drywall. We keep all the pieces so the drywall guy can put it back up easily, saves time and money that way. And when we leave, it looks like we were never there. And the house is generally cleaner than when it was when we came in. That is how we take pride in our work. And again, if you happen to live in Calgary, Alberta, and you're looking to potentially get your poly B replacement done, just give us a shout. You can look us up at kpnplumbing.ca, or you can give me a shout at 403-608-9557, and I'd be happy to come out and look at your job for you, or even answer any kind of questions that you have. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you on the next one.